This is Pastor Rock.
But yeah, they weren't even a Denton group. They were just like they just were
played there
music that
once.
Denton kids would listen to.
Yeah, okay. It's just freshman college
Yeah.
hipster music.
Yes,
That's fine.
yes. So I would always hear it wherever I went.
I would have like stereotypical of like listening to diving to Dave Matthews Band and Radiohead my first year of college, and Elliott Smith.
I didn't, honestly. I was so into hip hop. I had never had that opportunity to just like.
Well, at that point for me, hip hop was basically Kanye West was all I was listening to. A little bit of Jay-Z.
That's fair.
And some Lil Wayne, and then Deltron.
No, as soon as I got to learn true boom bap, real hip hop bullshit, I was hooked. I love Kanye. I love the artsiness and all that, but I love that real hip hop shit.
Oh no.
What if I make my background Magic City?
Where is that? Do you even know what that is?
Yes, I do.
Where's that?
It's in Atlanta, baby.
No, that not Magic City. This is
No, this is Silver City Cabaret, baby. Yeah.
this is Silver City here.
Yeah.
Vrabel.
Fellas, it's time for the football segment, and it's time to acknowledge that football is back, baby. It's week 1. I don't know when this will air, but gentlemen,
Between the Thursday night game and the Sunday games.
that's fair. And we're gonna preview the Thursday game, so this may just come off like redundant because people will have watched that game by then. But it doesn't matter, but because we have so much to talk about.
Congratulations, Chiefs. Congratulations, Lions. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Hedge your bets. Hedge your bets. Alrighty, so I'm super excited. I don't know about you guys. All right, this is for at least the next couple of generations, America's sport. It's no longer baseball. One day it might be basketball.
Well,
if Becky's
according to
agenda
Mark
ever
Cuban,
does successfully,
according to Mark
take
Cuban,
hold.
we've got about 365 days before the NBA magically takes over. So, back in 2014, he gave it a decade.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Well,
Wow.
I would argue that it depends, but racially, there's still some barriers to cross for basketball to take that seat. So I'll let that point stand. We're still trying to work on getting some other parts of our country to accept that it's okay to enjoy basketball. But I got a slow Serbian fat guy and a slow Slovenian white guy to sell them, and I got an interesting looking slow German to replace the one we lost a couple years ago. So I think I don't know.
Chance.
And Utah might be good. Utah, and they got a white player that's good. I'm just saying. NFL, watch out. But I don't want to take any more time.
No way.
And the next 20 years are being run by a Frenchman. So,
Boom. I'm sorry. I forgot
Well-
about the Frenchman. I don't know. He may not
I
qualify.
don't know about that Frenchman.
Yeah,
he
'cause
might not qualify for the specific audience that Becky's talking
He
about.
might need to have the conversation with Kareem, actually. For real. That's a different story for a different day.
But for today,
football.
so we're gonna
Big
pick up where we
skin.
left off in
Football.
regards to our predictions and how the AFC is going to finish. Now we don't have to spend too much time on this one because we do have some more pertinent things to talk about. More specifically, our own teams and how they're going to perform. Tomorrow's game, Chiefs at Lions, and just our general feelings about how this season might go. But for now, gentlemen, let's pick up where we left off and talk about the AFC. So I'm just going to start things off with the AFC East. I think this one is like the most interesting outside of the AFC North in terms of who I think could finish. In terms of it being a 2-team race and who finishes on top. So,
Honestly, I think it might be the most deep division in football. It's close. It's pretty good.
It's
top to
close.
bottom.
It's close, but I still think it's a little too.
It's
Only
our
if
wild
Russell
card.
Wilson stops acting like a bitch.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I don't
Stop kissing
necessarily mean to
babies.
say that I think any of them are necessarily
Alright,
going to
Sean
win the
Payton.
division. I just think the bottom of their division is better than the top of maybe the top or middle of some other divisions.
No, I was
Yeah,
quoting. I was quoting Sean Payton. I don't know if you saw that, Patrick.
I did.
I missed it.
Yeah, Sean
Oh,
Payton said that his quarterback needs to stop being a politician, basically.
Yeah, he's like,
Which
you're
I
not a
ca-
politician.
Yeah,
Stop
yeah.
kissing all those goddamn babies.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of respect the shit out of that. And like, I'm living in an alternate reality where Sean Payton did that to Dak, but I'm not sure if that results in the Cowboys imploding and getting a new quarterback or if Dak's succeeding. I guess we'll find out in Denver.
Oh
Hold
well,
on 2 seconds.
I think Russ is cooked. So, but anyway, let's talk about this division because you did point out something really interesting, Pat, and that is that it's a deep team or it's a deep division where their worst team happens to be coached by a legend in Bill Belichick, who, for those who may have missed out, uh, did not win the head coach fight club.
But my maybe my only effort in the whole tournament.
He lost to the fighting billionaire known as Arthur Smith.
Money, bro. What are you gonna do?
Right? You should have just said that Arthur Smith money whipped him to death. That would have been a really funny finish. But anyway, back to this.
It basically made up like a rogue Batman origin story for him, so it's kind of close.
Kind of close. All right, but back to this, gentlemen. As deep as this division is, for me, it's weird. It's three really talented teams, and then the New England Patriots. But it just feels like so. As long as Josh Allen is healthy, this is the Buffalo Bills division to lose. Like I know the New
Yeah.
York Jets are hyping up the arrival of Aaron Rodgers. Miami Dolphins, they've made a lot of splash moves. They have a lot of explosive talent on the outside.
You kind of have to feel bad for Dolphins fans because they've actually put. It looks like they're doing things right, but they're just in this division right now.
They're doing things right. To the QB, but we'll get to that. But yeah, looking at the Buffalo
Tua
Bills,
might be a politician too. That's gonna be the new word we use for quarterbacks
Tua's-
that we don't think have a nutsack.
he might need to do that though, because like otherwise,
He's good. He's just always hurt, and that's the game with Tua.
he's good, but he's limited in how good he can be, and that's to no fault of his own, but rather his dad. to make him
He's
throw
good
lefty.
enough, I guess. He's good enough to.
He
He would be good
is-
enough to run a good team, but he can't stay on the field.
You know who he reminds me of in terms of like his physical abilities is Chad Pennington after the third surgery on his arm.
I don't
up,
give a
bro.
damn, Chad
Listen,
Pennington.
they both throw ducks.
That's really fucked up, bro. I don't
Do
even.
you guys remember
It's tough.
Listen,
drunk?
Tua throws ducks, and
Joe
it's
Namath?
and you know why he throws ducks? It's not because he has a weak arm. He's not throwing with his natural arm. He's right-handed, but his dad's like, no, you need to stand up, throw lefty.
Oh, that's
And you know who- there's only
unfortunate
one-
advice.
Yeah, and there's only one person who's ever successfully done that, and his arm still was
Trey Lance Senior.
no, it was Michael Vick actually.
Oh well,
Naturally
so
right-handed,
Steve Young was.
threw left.
Oh yeah, Steve was naturally left. Okay, I didn't know it was naturally right.
Yeah, it was in a sports. I saw it in a Sports Illustrated story way back when. I was like, why? So why is he throwing left-handed? But whatever. Still a cannon for a left arm for somebody who doesn't naturally throw or doesn't naturally use their right hand or left hand. But either way, fellas,
Okay.
Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills. They still have Stephon Diggs. They don't have much of a running game outside of Josh Allen. It doesn't really matter. That offensive line is still pretty good. That defense, even without Von Miller, is kind of solid. It just doesn't feel like this is a team that it's going to finish anything less than 12 wins this season.
Comeback player of the year on their defense, though.
Yeah, comeback player of the year, DeMar Hamlin. Although I don't know how important of a role he'll play on defense, other than probably being like the
Motivational.
the
Stacking
motivational
trophies,
guy.
bro. Stacking trophies.
Stacking divisional trophies. I think it's the Buffalo
Yeah.
Bills all the way through. New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers. Listen, that defense might be good. That team might be solid overall, but we don't know how much Aaron Rodgers still has left in the tank. Because it was nothing special that we saw in Green Bay last season. They had
Yeah, but
Nathaniel
that
Hackett,
was-
who's kind of a jabroni.
That
of-
was
of a coach.
half-ass Aaron Rodgers.
That was
You
Aaron
know that
Rodgers
was
on his
half-ass
James
Aaron
Harden shit.
Rodgers.
I mean, we'll see.
That was what Brett Favre looked like when he was playing for the Jets. Like, I'm just
Well,
doing
no,
this,
Favre
playing
threw
the
his
year
arm
out.
out though. Favre threw his arm out because he threw like 6 touchdowns
yeah.
in a game with the Jets, and then he broke his arm.
I
He-
don't know. We'll have to see it.
He looked like Favre the second year of the Vikings.
He was that was a broken man.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Aaron Rodgers didn't look too good either way. So for me, I think this is the Buffalo Bills. I think this is the Miami Dolphins, and then the Jets finish third, the Patriots last. Because I look at that Patriots team and like, man, like I don't believe in Mac Jones. I don't believe.
No, there's no reason to
in that
believe in them. It's
offense.
just
Like you can't
Bill Belichick. So
Big
Like,
time bell cow running back though. You gotta
without
count that.
looking at the roster, without looking at the roster, can you guys name more than 2 receivers on the Patriots?
Ezekiel Elliott.
Receiver.
He'll have to catch a
do
ball
they still have-
eventually.
do they
Oh,
still
yeah,
have
as a running
Nicole
back.
Hardman?
No. No Miko Hardman.
Can I just
Yeah,
guess
I'm
their
at a loss.
ethnicity and height?
No, that's cheating.
Well, I was gonna guess a white guy. It wasn't gonna be problematic. It's the
That's
Patriots.
still probably cheating. But
Is there a
surprisingly,
5'8"? Is there a 5'8" white guy playing the slot somewhere in the roster right now?
there's a 5'8" black guy.
Ah, I see.
I'm looking.
Check.
2023.
He's finally.
They have
advancing.
a hold on. I gotta make sure. I'm gonna click on this guy's photo. No, they don't have a white receiver right now.
All right.
And
So,
that's why they're going to
that's
finish
growth.
4th place.
Yeah. That and the fact that
That's how
they have-
football works.
yes.
Belichick
That
has
and they
to
don't
have
really
them.
have anything else going on for them.
Yeah, it's his
outside of,
Sith
like,
magic.
Matthew Judon and I don't know who else you wanna name, like somebody on their secondary. Christian
I hope
Gonzalez.
I hope it was obvious that was a joke about that statement I just made. Okay.
Nah, you meant it from the bottom of your heart. No,
That
you
would
got
be the
Adrian
dumbest
Phillips.
point because you would just look at every good team and be like, no, you're wrong. It's
Yeah.
Well,
Either
for his
way-
teams though. He
Either way,
might-
gentlemen.
yeah, but his best team didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. I still think the Bills probably win it, but I do think the Jets are going to be competitive. That's pretty much
Yeah.
what I got on.
Yeah, their only hope is to be the last wild card team, and I don't see any other way for them to make it through into this division. So I got the Bills. You got the Bills. Bethke, who do you got?
I am a propagandist. I love propaganda. I love HBO. I will not call it the other name. It is always HBO. So unfortunately, I'm picking the Jets because I'm buying into the hype. Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah.
it's a comeback season. They're just signing, Dalvin Cook's gonna be a superstar. I'm just kidding, but like that'll be useful. They've got a lot of good talent. I hope, I think,
I'll give it a
possibly.
good couple weeks before he gets hurt.
It's a decent roster, but nothing like.
I don't care. Number 8 is taking over
That-
New York City.
That defense is really good though, and so that's
I'm
the
not
thing.
gonna lie. I'm really worried about. Isn't that the week 2 game for the Cowboys? I really am worried about a world where
you have
both
to
New
tell
York
me.
teams fuck up the start of my season.
They're
I wouldn't worry too
they're
much about that,
spicy,
but we'll
though.
get into that. We'll get into the Cowboys.
We'll get into it. I
start,
wasn't gonna
week
step on it. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
It's
let's,
not. I'm not looking at those as two sick in the bag
Cupcakes.
games.
The Cowboys are definitely gonna have to work for it, but we'll
That's why I like it. It's how they need to earn it.
But yeah, with the AFC East, we have our predictions here with Patrick and I going with the Bills, and then Bethke with the Jets. All right, let's
Well,
go on.
Me changing my vote from a few times is at least gonna mean that I'm definitely either gonna win handedly or clearly be the loser. Either way, it feels
Well,
like
it's always
the
possible
momentum
that,
is
like,
working against me.
I mean, we could all three pick a different team and still be wrong. So
Well, that's true, but I think I'm the only one who's gone reckless against the odds because I have them in front of me, but I'm just going off vibes.
yes, Caesar, I need you to send me our predictions when we're done with this.
Yeah, I got it. I'm writing it all down.
I don't even. I'll pick the
let's-
Bears. I picked the Bears, and you guys were like, "That's stupid," and I'm like, "Maybe," but like that's who I would want to win the division, so that's who I picked.
You're Yeah.
That's
They're
Yeah,
just
it's
I
the
like Justin
NFL.
Fields. I want to watch Justin
It's the
Fields play.
NFL. You can pick a team, and there's a good chance they're all of a sudden going to be good for no reason for 1 year or so.
If I pick somebody really egregious, then y'all can. I'm trying to pick people who I think have a shot.
Bears.
I'm not picking anything stupid. Yes, I went out on a limb with the Bears, but it was an open division.
You might not have.
I
I'm
mean,
going to
I,
look
I
really
think
dumb.
I think the most
It's-
egregious one outside of you picking the Bears, I think the most egregious one last week was Patrick picking the Giants.
Oh fuck yeah, you did. Okay, that's a pretty
That's
good one. But honestly, who knows? That's the
I-
NFC East for you.
the
But
NFC
yeah, that's a
East
good zag.
rotational.
That was a good zag.
You
yeah.
rotate. You
But we
rotate
all-
who's on top.
We all picked differently in that one though, because we both were
Uh-huh.
homers, right? Or did Caesar say
Wait.
Cowboys? Did you say Cowboys?
I'm not.
You
no,
say
I said
Cowboys. You said
I said
Cowboys.
the
Yeah,
Cowboys.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you
'cause
said I was
wanted-
hedging my bets.
You revert. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
I was trying to reverse
That's
jinx
right.
something, but I was like,
Yeah.
how about that one? I guess then if you had to say that I had an egregious take, it would have been the Seattle Seahawks winning the NFC West.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, I like that
Yeah.
one though. It's not a bad one.
Yeah,
I like the
but,
way
yeah.
because there's in this like strip club that he's in or whatever. When he gentleman's club.
Magic
When he
City,
leans back to
or
look
Lemon
at stuff,
Pepper
it's
Lou.
kind of like he's in a Star Wars hologram, or he'll like kind of break up and then come back.
Fair.
It's the hat, bro. You need to get you a all green hat or something, bro.
I do. Well,
The
actually, I
black
have an
hat
all
is-
green Eagles beanie. I can switch to that.
The black hat is
Let's
it's
see.
throwing you
Sweat your ass off for the rest of this thing.
Hey, this house is a cool.
I'm also trying to figure
68
out-
degrees.
off. Who do we think that is on the TV?
That's
It looks like a
100
pro athlete, right?
That looks like a soccer game.
A soccer match.
Oh, hey, there we
Who's
go.
on-
There you
Yep.
go. All right,
Who's
Who's
we
on the
go.
pitch?
yeah, they'll fuck with your little fuzzy, but that's fine. You'll see the rest of you.
He's here. He's there. He's everywhere.
All that matters is this logo right here, baby. But yeah, gentlemen, speaking of the West, let's go ahead and get these next two very obvious
Wiki
divisions
wow.
out of the way.
Wiki wow.
Alright? With the first one being the AFC West. Does anybody else not just? Does anybody want to go on a limb and pick the Chargers? Because I'm not going to.
No.
Because let's look at it. We have the Raiders being really bad. I don't know how they do it year after year, but they find ways to get worse. And I think this team is going to be worse than last year's team. And then you have the Denver Broncos, who last year they were a train wreck. That was to be expected when you hire Nathaniel Hackett, who is kind of a hack. And then Russell Wilson fell off a cliff. The guy just physically broke down and can't play the way that he used to in Seattle. And I think if Sean Payton can get anything out of Russell Wilson, then maybe, just maybe, the Denver Broncos have a chance at that final wild card spot. But there's no chance in hell that they have any hopes of winning this division, especially with Kansas City being Kansas City. They still have Andy Reid. They still have Patrick Mahomes. And then you have the Los Angeles Chargers, who...
Pat Mahomes here.
It's a talented team, right? But it's also the Chargers, and they're a cursed team. So, at best, they are plucky early on in the season and then collapse. And then maybe Denver can somehow take advantage of that. Or the Los Angeles Chargers make it to the playoffs, and that's where we see them collapse the way that only the Chargers know how to do.
I think I am going to say good vibes into the season. Best of luck to everybody. I'm gonna pick my dear friend Kellen Moore in the Los Angeles Chargers as a token of good faith and hope that he has good success this year and harboring good karma for a team that desperately needs it that I like.
I'm writing this down. You're picking the Chargers. Okay.
Hey, the Chiefs need to pay their best player, bro. You're not even gonna pay one of your best players. I guess I shouldn't say best player, but you should. Come on, bro. They're not even paying their best guy. Come on, the best defensive guy.
Yeah, but
That's bullshit. I need you to do that. Pat Mahomes can't deadlift it forever. This Chiefs thing.
are we sure about that though?
He can take them far. He can be like LeBron and drag the dead carcass to the playoffs a couple times and pretty far. But like
Because look at
Super
that
Bowl,
offense,
I think
man.
it might be tough if they
Look
keep declining. If the defense is gonna rot from the start out, that's bad news, Bears.
You're
But
not
they can
wrong,
always
but
just pay him. They can always just
Yeah.
pay him. But
you're not wrong. I think that the Kansas City Chiefs can get by. I'm not saying they can win the Super Bowl without him. I'm just saying in terms of the regular season success, I think that they can buy with getting having a below average defense, as long as they have Pat Mahomes on the other side of the ball. As long as he's healthy, as long as Travis Kelce's healthy, and they got Andy Reid, they can make do with a bad defense to win the division. I'm not saying that they can win the
feel you.
conference, but
I'm more picking a team that I'm looking at and saying who might take a regular season more seriously between the two of those. If I think the Chargers are good enough, which I do, I think they've got enough talent. They're fun. I do think Kellen Moore will be a positive. I think they'll struggle to run the football and all the normal shit. But like ultimately, he has a way cooler quarterback to run his offense than Dak. No offense to Dak, it just wasn't the right two guys to be together. They got a ton of weapons. I think they could be a really fun regular season team, even if the Chiefs are the better team all along. So that's why I'm picking to win the division.
That's
They
fair.
can get the more regular season wins.
all
It's the
right, well,
Chargers, so I mean, I'm glad I don't have money on it.
yeah. Well, there is a punishment for whoever gets the most of these wrong.
It'd be all
I don't know
right.
what it is yet.
It's
but
hard to embarrass me, but
We'll figure that out.
even if you
Gotcha.
put me in like Eagles clothes, I still don't. I'd be like, damn, this is the best an Eagles fans ever looked.
That's a lie, because me. But whatever. Patrick.
I'm
DC.
surprised. I'm surprised. I don't know. It's the Chiefs.
Yeah, I
Barring any
understand,
injuries, the Chiefs.
but I'm very karmatic.
I know it's not
karmatic
interesting. It's
person.
boring. But in that division, there's no one even remotely competing with them.
Patrick, it's business, and I'm just wishing well
Yep.
for a former,
It's-
member of the Dallas Cowboys
you.
who I feel like it'd be better for my team to have good karma. You know what I mean? Don't shit on the last guy.
So
Be
why
thankful
didn't you
for what he
pick- How's
did
shitting?
and be happy you're moving on.
so why
That's
didn't you
how
pick
it's been.
the Patriots to win the AFC East? They got your boy. They got
Well,
your second
Zeke
favorite running back of all time.
Zeke can only do so much. You know what I mean? I saw what he did with the Cowboys. That we got all we could out of him.
He's a dual threat now.
Yeah, he might be the
He plays
quarterback at
center.
some point that season.
He could be quarterback, offensive line, receiver.
Don't forget his first Pro Bowl. He got to rush the passer a couple times. I think it was his first Pro Bowl.
All right, here we go.
Just saying.
Multi-talented man, Ezekiel Elliott.
But
All
no,
right.
the propaganda won out. So the Jets are. I have a weird system, but you'll understand eventually. It's tried and
If
true.
it's anything based off of your philosophy of the head coach flight club, it's just you like chaos.
Yeah.
You pick the
mean-
most chaotic thing you can think of.
Although it's fun to get heartbroken by the Cowboys every year, the thing I do love about the NFL is that it's just fucking chaos ball every year. Like it's just really just throw it all in there. Fuck what you know. Let's see what you get this year. So I do appreciate that a lot.
All right, and now this one, I think we might have our first unanimous one, unless somebody really wants to go on the edge. But it's the AFC South, where we have the Jacksonville Jaguars as like it's just the Jacksonville Jaguars, and then everybody else. Like that's how I see it. I just
Ooh.
can't. I can't convince
I can be a
myself. that
fuckboy here.
I can't look at this Tennessee Titans team that's devoid of receiving talent. Like we don't know when Derrick Henry's legs will finally give out on him, and then Ryan Tannehill, like we don't know when he's gonna get hurt, and they have to go to their backups. And we saw last season how their backup situation went, and it wasn't pretty. It's
Aggie quarterbacks can't win Super Bowls.
it's just not pretty. The Houston Texans, that's a team that's going to be fighting to not have a really bad draft pick, but probably will end up having a really bad, draft pick that ends up going to Arizona. And then you have the Colts, who they can't. It's a team that's built on Jonathan Taylor. They're not going to have him for a minute, and then they don't really have any explosive receiver talent on the outside. It's a solid group on defense, but nothing spectacular. The entire Indianapolis Colts team is just not spectacular, but fine. So they might compete for the second spot in the conference. which is still probably going to be a losing record if we're being honest, because they do have a young quarterback who does not have a lot of experience. Uh, the Houston Texans have an Ohio State quarterback, so history tells us that Ohio State quarterbacks aren't necessarily very good in the NFL. I'm hoping Justin Fields breaks that curse, though.
He already
And
has. I don't know what you're talking about.
we gotta see year 3, man. It could still be bad because Chicago's cursed when it comes to quarterbacks. So maybe he breaks it.
It's
Maybe he
not
breaks
cursed,
it.
they're just bad at it.
Yeah, that's what I mean by cursed. How can you have in a 100-year history and not one decent quarterback? When Jay Cutler's your best quarterback of all time, it's like a great thing to say, despite Jacob Bethke's affinity for his play style.
Yeah. Your quarterback
But
list could also be like fucking John Orowski or whatever the fucking Donovan McNabb too.
don't forget Randall Cunningham, the guy who
Oh,
puts
dude, yeah, y'all
glue-
did have good Cunningham. I forget because like I wasn't there for that. Who got the good Cunningham? He got the best Cunningham though, so I don't know. Yeah, I would say he got the
yeah.
best Cunningham.
He got the best
Yeah, no,
Well-
y'all
version of no, he got the best throwing version of
Y'all
Cunningham,
cut bait
but
on
like the Eagles
Cunningham.
got like the
No,
best
we-
playmaking version.
Y'all cut bait on him, so
We
that's
had-
automatically not your guy anymore.
We
Yeah,
had
that's Jake
Cunningham
Bird.
when he
Cut bait.
really didn't have to try very hard.
Yeah, and then also
He never
Mike
had
Vick's
toys
best
like he had
season?
with us.
as an Eagle, not as a Falcon. So there you go.
It's- Yeah, that's fair. The Mike
Yeah,
Vick
so
thing was nice.
I'll hop in real quick. So I'm kind of with you. I don't think there's any competition outside of the Jaguars in this AFC South.
The London
uh,
Jaguars.
The Landon Jaguars.
Yeah, it
All
wouldn't
right.
be too surprising. Although I think they'd rather expand out there because they still want their Florida money. But yeah, I don't have too much to say. That is a
Like,
rough division.
I
top
have
to
Trevor
bottom,
Lawrence
honestly.
the MVP for this year, so
Oh
I
shit.
have to have them as.
I don't think
the-
he's
the winner.
I don't think he's full MVP, but I think he's gonna have fun with a bad division and two pretty good receivers on his team. We'll see what Calvin Ridley looks like. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Bethke, you want to try to come up with a theory as to why someone might topple the vaunted Jaguars?
No, all I got is that I just want to watch Anthony Richardson really badly. So if I really wanted to be an asshole, I would just
Got
hedge
him.
my bet and
Got
just
him on my dynasty football team.
dude, I'm excited actually. Like I kind of want to just say fuck it and pick the Colts just to really double down, but I know better than that. I'm gonna say the Jaguars.
There we go. The
Reluctantly.
first. I think that's the
Reluctantly.
first unanimous. one
Honestly,
we
I
did?
hope we're all wrong. I hope we're all fucking wrong. And I hope Anthony Richardson is that dude.
Me too. It'd be great for my
Actually,
dynasty
yeah.
football team.
Across all of the picks so far, this is the only one we've have as unanimous.
Hell yeah.
Who knew the
I must have zagged
Jaguars
on
were
some stupid shit. Wait, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense though, because yeah, a lot of
He's
these are
just-
kind of
it's
up for
tough.
grabs. Yeah.
Do you want
Yeah.
a reminder of
No,
everybody?
I can look at it and remember now. There's not that many.
All right.
NFL parody is wild, so it's always yeah. If you pick chalk, it's a bad idea because at least 3 or 4 of those are gonna be wrong.
This one might be very
It's a tough
difficult as well.
Pal.
With the AFC North.
Oh no,
I
I already
think the
know.
closest
I already have my
odds.
pick. Yeah, I'm already in on one of these teams for sure.
I think top to bottom it's the closest odds on, except for the NFC North.
Yeah. Just going over the players or the teams on this one. So we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're led by second year Kenny Pickett. I believe it's his second year.
Sounds right.
That defense should be good, should be solid. It always is. That offense is. I don't trust Kenny Pickett in the pros, honestly, because he came in as an older prospect. He
Not
probably
yet.
already hit
He
his
looked all right
ceiling
though.
as what he's going to be in the NFL. Although there is always the possibility that he does improve, but that remains to be seen. We look at this team; they have a really good receiver core because for whatever reason, the Pittsburgh Steelers just know how to draft wide receivers, and George Pickens might just blow up and become the next best thing in terms of a Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver. But outside of that, their offensive line's just okay. Running back is just like it's Najee Harris. He might be good. He might not be good. Last year he was kind of all over the place.
I got Pickens on
and-
my fantasy team too.
Oh, good choice. That's a good one. But
Sorry,
yeah,
being that
this
guy.
this is a team that I think is going to be average. I'm looking at like a 9-8 type of a season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I could be wrong. They could take a leap for all we know. But this is just a team that we know as long as it's coached by Mike Tomlin, they're not going to have a losing record, historically speaking. So you can count on them to give it the best they got. But I'm looking at Baltimore Ravens and Cincinnati Bengals. I'm disregarding the Cleveland Browns because no, no, no. I refuse to give any credence to a team that employs Deshaun Watson.
I can make the case, but that's not the team I'm on.
Yeah, you can make a case, I guess, but like so much has to go right for that Browns team to really go to the next level. Because the few games that Deshaun Watson played last year, he was so bad. He was.
I would just say
awful.
it's Myles Garrett is the biggest thing you would say.
Yes.
And then the second thing I would say is if
Amari
for
Cooper.
any way, shape, and form you get the best out of Amari Cooper for that many games and Deshaun Watson, that obviously has a nice thing. But we're talking about a lot of ifs and buts and maybes that don't feel very probable.
And like,
Yeah.
listen, the last time that we saw Deshaun Watson play a full season of football, was what 2020, and he looked amazing. Right, comes back after 2 years of not playing any football, looked like dog shit. He looked worse than he did his rookie year. In his rookie year, he looked pretty good. So that is a level of regression that is not. It's not nothing, right? Like you could say, well, he had 2 years off, and so a lot of rust, whatever.
It's very unique, though. That's the problem with it. It's hard to tell because it's a very unique situation.
It is. It's. I don't think there's anything like it outside of maybe. Obviously, the circumstances are going to be different, right? But the last time
Vic.
we saw a quarterback,
Vic was pretty close, but
Vic.
Vic, actually, I think there's a lot of people that felt like Vic, because he actually had to go to jail. There was more.
I mean, obviously, yeah, it's an extreme, but no one
But
else really missed.
you're right, though. That is a
time
very
like
similar case. But I do
Yeah,
think most people weren't as mad about Vic. I mean, there was still a lot of mad people, but they weren't as mad because they thought he had paid his price.
Yeah, and Vic went out of his way to prove to people that like he did change. Like it wasn't a superficial thing. Even to this day, I believe that he's still takes an active part in
He got a key to the city of
combating
Dallas,
the thing
dude.
that he got in prison. He went to prison for.
Yeah, I know he's well, the thing is that there was a lot that goes into that whole story, but
Yeah,
my
we could
dad-
spend like a full
yeah.
podcast episode on just that.
I just remember my dad telling me, he was like, bro, in Waco, I could have taken you to 5 or 6 of those regularly. He was like, that
Yeah.
shit is very normal. He was like, I honestly didn't know that either. Like, that's definitely some generations removed shit that people in the South just have been doing. And that, so Vic ended up being a
Not just
blessing
the
in
South.
disguise.
That's
Yeah,
a
I guess I just
worldwide
know for a
phenomena.
fact that it's very,
Yeah.
very prominent in the South.
Rural,
It really is.
usually rural, but
Yeah.
you'll see it in some urban areas for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean shit. And like whenever that happened, like my brother told me like that shit happens in Dallas too. You really have to like know people to get into that because obviously big city.
Nowadays,
You don't want to catch any attention. So,
but it
But-
used to not be that bad or that hard, unfortunately. But yeah,
but with that said, I can't trust the Cleveland Browns, even though they probably have the best player in the division in Myles Garrett. I don't think that's a question. Like, yes, Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow, some of the best quarterbacks. I think Myles Garrett is the best football player in that division, because he's just a freak of nature. Now, unfortunately, he can't win it all by himself. Neither can Amari Cooper, especially if his quarterback is bad, right? If his quarterback's good, that'll throw an entire wrench in this prediction, right? But I am going on the assumption that he's not going to be that good, and so I'm looking at the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson finally has a real number one wide receiver. Granted, OBJ missed a year, right? We don't know what he's going to look like, But I believe in OBJ enough to assume that he's going to play his ass off. All right, for the Baltimore Ravens. He's fine. Lamar Jackson's going to be in a system where it's actually predicated on throwing the ball and not so much designed runs and not so much like rudimentary passing concepts. So we might get a season from Lamar once he gets acclimated to uh, the way that they want to do the offense in Baltimore this season. Once he's acclimated to all that, we might see the first season of a quarterback doing 4,000 and 1,000. Like I really think that Lamar Jackson has that potential. I don't necessarily know how committed they will be to airing it out.
I've already done that
Lamar
on
J-
Madden multiple times.
Yes, but in in real life, we've never seen that. We've seen 4,700, and I think that was Cam Newton who did that in his rookie year, where he threw for 4,000 yards, ran for 700. I think Lamar Jackson has this ability to do something we've never seen before in the NFL. However, this is a team that can't stay healthy. Last year was just terrible. I think they were one of the most injured teams in the league. Despite that, they made the playoffs, and despite having, I think, their third string quarterback in at one point, this is a team that pushed the Cincinnati Bengals to the limit, and it took a 99-yard fumble return for touchdown for the Bengals to get past Baltimore. So if Baltimore can finally just kind of regress to the mean in terms of injury luck, they could win this division. With that said, I'm placing my bets on Joe Burrow. All right, Joe Shiesty. I believe in him.
You just
He
pulled the
seems like
rug
he's
out
going
of
to be there.
everybody watching this and listening. Because that was
What's
the
up?
biggest buildup for picking
Yeah.
the Ravens. Just
Well,
to
I
be
thought
like,
you would. I
fuck the
actually thought
Ravens.
I had already heard you say that you were picking the Ravens.
Did I? I don't know, but I've thought
I
about
thought
this
you were
in the week.
justifying. I thought you were justifying why you picked the Ravens.
No,
But I
no.
might be
I'm glad
wrong.
that you were on the same page as me because I thought so too. And I was like, yes,
Uh,
I agree. But that's hilarious.
Yeah, well,
Amazing.
listen. This is a team that, hey man, they went to the Super Bowl the year before. Last year, AFC title game, if I'm not mistaken.
Joe
Like
Cool.
the offensive line is okay. Like it used to be really, really bad. If you remember that Super Bowl, like Joe Burrow was running for his life, and yet was still making plays. They have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. All right,
Lyle
they have a decent
Collins.
run game with Joe Mixon, surprisingly, and then that defense, man, that defense, it doesn't have like big stud names or anybody that you absolutely want on your team, but they just make it work. And that says a lot about their defensive coordinator. That says a lot about just this team in general that you know, they have some big names on offense, but you can't really name more than like four players on this team, and yet they're constantly giving the Chiefs hell, right? At one point, they were calling it a Burrowhead because he was having success there.
Burrowhead
That said,
my ass.
I believe in
This
I
is
believe in the
Mahomes'
Bengals.
house.
Pause.
I'm gonna choose the Bengals despite all the love that I gave to the Baltimore Ravens because I want to love the Ravens. I just can't. I just can't based on last year's health and like how snake bitten they've seemed to be
YOLO
with
season.
Lamar Jackson's help.
It's about YOLO. It's about YOLO.
Are you going Baltimore ball?
Yeah, if I had to power rank the top 5 things that I have, I don't actually have that in order, but Baltimore would be in top 5, and the Dallas Cowboys would be number 1. I should say the Dallas Cowboy roller coaster is number 1.
Patrick, where do you stand on this?
Yeah, I'd probably take the Bengals, or I will take the Bengals. I don't really trust OBJ, especially if you look at the history of wide receivers missing a year. It's never good coming back. And I already thought he was kind of falling off. And again, I love Lamar Jackson, love watching him play, but like you were talking about injuries, don't even know how many games he'll be out there.
Y'all don't have big trust.
So yeah, so just based on that, I mean, I think they absolutely have. I do think they have a team that could win the division. I don't want to rule them out entirely, but my pick would absolutely be the Bengals.
Good.
Just if things play the way they should, that seems like the logical choice.
I think I'm going to do quite well or quite awfully. I love this.
Yeah, there is no in between on your predictions. Uh,
Yeah,
with that
Caesar,
said,
send
though,
me those, and I'll put it all together in some other way for us to look at.
for show. With that
It's all
said,
animated
fellas,
stuff.
let's go off from predicting division.
Oh, hi there. Patrick here from Pass the Rock. When I'm not recording, editing, posting the podcast, I'm sleeping. This week's episode is brought to you by Sleep.
This is Past the Rock.
Once again, Pass the Rock presents Must Watch, Skip It, or Train Wreck.
There we go. This leads us in to the must watch, to the skip it, and to the train wreck. It has made its miraculous return for the first time on Spotify, I think. Right?
Probably, yeah. Unless we
Yeah,
were
it
like,
wasn't.
should
We
you
used to do
skip?
this on
Should you
the,
skip the Super Bowl or watch the Super Bowl?
Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure this is the debut of this on the
This is first of
Spotify
season
version
one.
of the
Hard
podcast.
skip on the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, if it's not my team,
I've
I'm
done
skipping
it.
I have to.
Colts-
I've skipped both Giants,
Colts,
Patriots
Saints.
Super Bowls.
Dude, you miss Colts Saints? Because I mean, honestly though, like, yeah, I get it, booty hurtness, but like, that still was a hell of a Super Bowl. That sucks for you. That was a fun one.
I'm good.
That was a
I'm
good
good
one.
on that.
That was,
Not as
that
good
was
as
solid.
as long as you got to see Pittsburgh, Arizona, you saw the best Super Bowl ever.
That was fun. I think 28-3 might have something to say about that.
No, that's like the greatest choke job ever.
That's wild. That's witchcraft, bro. I still don't believe that was real.
I love that shit.
I still can't believe
41 to 33. That 2017. That was the best Super Bowl ever. But that's a debate for another day,
it.
gentlemen.
Well, ain't nobody
we've
can
already-
talk
no
about
one's
that
gonna-
punk-ass
No
Super
one's gonna
Bowl.
hear that or know you said it.
What?
Nobody
Nothing.
gives a shit about that Super Bowl. That's like the
You
top
calling me
10
a
most
hater.
forgettable Super Bowls in the history of Super Bowls.
That's a lie. That's a lie. But that's fair. I can take
That's
that
like
from a
that
Cowboys
ranks
fan.
third on Tom Brady's Super Bowl losses. It's distant.
Yeah, but it's the most fun Super Bowl loss he's had for experience. Because that first one, listen, outside of that David Tyree catch, that was still kind of a boring game.
That was the
was
best
a
football
low
team
score.
ever assembled, bro. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and they didn't
And
play
they
like it
lost
in
to
that game.
Eli Manning, bro.
No, but it wasn't a fun game
And then
to
they
watch.
got revenge, and they did it again. The Eagles don't even. He didn't even bring it up. That's how little he gives a shit. He was like, "I already got mine. This is cute."
Yeah, he's just annoyed that he lost to Eli Manning twice. That's it.
Facts. I would be too.
That doesn't mean that game was okay.
But
That second game was.
He got
was
Eli
probably
in the
the
Hall
worst
of Fame, so that's kind of also a resume builder.
Eli
if you
being
think
in the
about
Hall
it.
of Fame is not no.
If you think
There's-
about that,
there's
you
not.
kind of can add that to Tom Brady's legacy.
And another reason for me to hate Tom Brady. Oh God, my dogs are barking their asses off. Anyway, I don't know if y'all can hear that.
Sorry, it'll be all right.
Either way,
The feds
gentlemen,
are busting
let's-
in.
what? Okay, they're tired of all
Feds
my
did a
hating
sweep.
ass rants on the.
I'll be right back.
But anyway, back to the watch it, skip it, and train wreck portion of this. Let's talk about the game that's probably the most skippable game of this entire week one lineup. Gentlemen, I don't know if you've seen the week one lineup, but spoiler alert, this is a game that's going to be a snooze fest. At best. At best, it's a snooze fest.
There's a couple
I
of
almost wanted to
candidates
put this
here.
on.
There's a couple of candidates here. I feel like.
Yeah, and there's a couple of games that this one was really hard between the skip it and train wreck because like this game could very well become a train wreck with the two teams involved. But for the one that I've decided to just say, hey, skip it. I don't think you're gonna get that much out of it. Sorry, Patrick, but your Minnesota Vikings against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it does not interest me.
Oh,
This was
that's where
tough
you
between
went.
it was that or New Orleans and Tennessee. Like
Oh,
that's my time.
I was
That's a
looking at
tie.
Arizona, Washington, and being like, why the fuck would I watch that?
You just hit onto my train wreck game of the week. But just before we get into that, Minnesota Tampa Bay, like I look at this Tampa Bay team, kind of bored. I kind of think Minnesota just has their way with them. New Orleans, Tennessee, I think these are two very, very mid to below average teams. I don't think there's going to be much fireworks in this game outside of maybe one big Derrick Henry run. Other than that, we're probably just going to see Derek Carr dink and dunk his way to a win at home.
I'm gonna call
And
that
this
the
is Saints game.
Sparkly Jeans Bowl because I feel like New Orleans and Tennessee fans most likely to have sparkly jeans on at any given time.
Perhaps. I think you might be right on that. But yeah, thoughts on my picks for the skip it game. I know that Patrick, as a Vikings fan, you are obligated to not skip it.
You know the Raiders are playing the Broncos this week.
That was in contention for the train wreck game as well.
I mean, I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't say Vikings Bucks is a huge matchup unless you're a big fan of the NFC Central Division that used to exist.
No,
And you like that old rivalry.
this is Baker Mayfield's comeback tour.
This is
Brian
the
Flores
last-
is going to eat Baker Mayfield alive.
that-
Oh shit! I just thought about that.
Oh, shit,
Yeah, Tampa Bay's probably fucked.
Neil Hunter's going to.
That's a really bad
Neil Hunter's
matchup
gonna
for your
eat
week
him.
one without a quarterback you trust. Your old fuck. Or no,
Yeah, but
wait,
like-
Flores wasn't there, right?
No,
Flores
he
wasn't there.
If-
He wasn't there. No.
Bowles and
He was
Florida
in
both-
Miami.
Yeah,
Listen,
was
if
in- right. the other Florida.
if they're able to keep Danielle Hunter in check, that secondary can get carved up by somebody like Baker Mayfield. But we don't know.
Baker Playfield.
They still have Mike Evans. They still have Chris Godwin. Like there's still like
he
talent
wearing-
there.
Is he
It's
still
just
wearing a
that-
Sooner jersey?
Who knows? Is Baker? You're saying Baker Mayfield wearing a Sooner jersey?
Yeah, because that's the last time he's done anything worth a damn.
I don't know that one playoff year. Maybe? That one playoff year for Cleveland? No. You call me a hater. Anyway. Yeah, the train wreck games, guys. These are games for those who may not be familiar with my line of thinking on this one. These are games that could be so bad you have to watch it because it's like two cars coming in, or in this case, two trains. For whatever reason, they're on the same rail, going in the same direction. You can't look away from the horror, despite the fact that you want to look away. And the horror in this case is going to be the Washington Commanders and the Arizona Cardinals. And then Bethke, you brought up a good point. Denver, Las Vegas. These are two games, sorry, that have two teams who could be historically bad, as in the Arizona Cardinals and the Las Vegas Raiders, and then against two teams who are probably going to be in store for a roller coaster of mediocrity. And what a roller coaster of mediocrity is just, hey, they look pretty decent, and then get blown out the next week, and then, hey, they look pretty decent, get blown out the next week.
Wasn't that basically just how you could describe the NFL standings last year?
A roller coaster of mediocrity?
I mean,
Yes.
that is
Yeah,
kind
I
of
mean, that's how you
easy.
could describe the NFC, honestly, because it's so top heavy with essentially like three teams that are considered
I don't
Super
know
Bowl contenders, and then everybody
I
else
don't
is
even
just
think
kind
it's
of there.
top heavy.
Yeah.
The whole
Yeah.
conference sucks.
They're all three of the contenders. We all know that if they drop dead this year, we would all be like, yeah,
Paper tigers, yeah.
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 Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. But the more I look at this team, the more that I look at this, the more I think, all right, the real train wreck really could be Denver and Las Vegas, because I think everybody expects the Arizona Cardinals to be a train wreck, and then Washington to just be okay enough. But with Denver, you don't know what Russell Wilson you're gonna get. You don't know if Sean Payton can revive that guy, or if Sean Payton's just gonna like immediately regret ever taking this job. And then you have Jimmy G, and then the Las Vegas Raiders, just in general. Like, yeah, they have Devontae Adams, but anybody that's coached by Josh McDaniels is just destined for failure, but spectacular failure, honestly. So, my definitive pick for everyone listening at home, it's going to be the Las Vegas Raiders, Denver Broncos. That's the train wreck, with the honorable mention being
feel that.
Arizona, who's led by no eyebrows having Josh Dobbs. If you ever look at that man, he looks like he has no eyebrows.
Bro, he's got. Chill out, KG.
He's got no eyebrows. And then against the Washington Commanders, who have they even announced who their starting quarterback's going to be? I don't think they have. Is it Sam Howell?
Yeah, I think it is Sam Howell.
Gotta be.
Who's
Which,
the backup?
hey, Jacoby Brissett would be the
Oh,
backup.
right. I mean, no, yeah, it's nice to have Brissett, but yeah, they're going to give that job to Howell. There's no point.
Right.
He's already got his toes wet. You might as well.
Might
Let
as
him
well.
stick it all in.
Yes, let him put it all in.
I've had a taste. I want the whole thing.
He's tired of just the tip.
You'll know what that Paul Pierce. You'll see the Paul Pierce thing, right? Where he's describing an NBA team when he was on ESPN, and he was like, "See, Jason Tatum, he's giving us a small taste. I want the whole thing."
I remember when that was circulating around.
Oh, it's
The truth.
It's outlived his ESPN days by a long shot. It will continue to do so.
Good. All right, now,
Those things
gentlemen,
do.
I think this is the part of the football segment that we've personally been waiting for, because we can finally talk about our teams debuting week 1, how we feel about each team going in. We've already hinted at how we feel based on last week's NFC predictions exercise, but now we can now that we've had like a week to let that sit in, and we're right here, we're right at the cusp of the debut of this season, we can kind of talk more about it, and nothing more hot takey than making an assumption based on the week 1 game, right? So the way that we're gonna do this, we're just gonna go in order of the Fight Club order. Patrick, you're gonna lead things off, because I want to know your thoughts on this game. You have the Minnesota Vikings all against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? How are you feeling about this? I think this is not necessarily easy game for the Vikings, but I think this is a game where they're going to come out, they're going to put a bunch of points on the board against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay could make this interesting on paper. It's not a roster devoid of talent by any means, but that quarterback situation is pretty rough. So there is a chance that it could be a stinker on their side, right? But Baker Mayfield is at least good for a singular good game, like a season. This could be his moment to shine, right? But you also have the Kirk Cousins, it's not primetime factor. It's a 12 o'clock game. This is prime Kirk Cousins that you have working with. You have a new defensive coordinator. That defense still looks like it's devoid of talent outside of like Danielle Hunter. How are you feeling? What are your thoughts on this one?
I mean, yeah, I feel like you kind of just laid it all out there. It's an interesting test to see what Brian Flores is doing differently with not too much of a different roster. But you got to think they'll be better than 28th in points allowed or whatever they were last year. The offense, we secured Hawkinson, we got Jordan Addison, so that should be fine. Cousins is like an 80% quarterback, you know what I mean? Where it's like most of the time you're like, yeah, this is fine, and then the other 20% of the time you're like, what the hell are you doing, dude? But yeah, I think it's ultimately just kind of like how last year was all kind of up in the air, just based on a brand new coach after a decade. This year we got a brand new defensive coordinator who's going to run things significantly differently.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
That's a
and you
blitz
just gotta
heavy
hope
guy.
that,
That's a guy who loves sending the blitz.
yeah, and that's
need
fine
corners who
because we
can
don't have
cover.
we don't have the bodies to do much else. So just throw them at the quarterback and see what happens. And that's what most of the season's gonna look like. And against teams like Tampa Bay, I think we should be all right. I bet we win by 1 score. That's kind of our thing.
Gotta keep
The
them
record
close
you
to
guys
keep
had
them
last season.
entertained.
Yeah, the record that you guys had against opponents in one scores game last year was insane. I think it was what you guys like. The majority of your wins were all one score games, were they not?
And most of our losses were 2. There were a couple blowouts in there, but there's a lot of coming down to the last drive every week.
Yeah, so there is a.
Which
If I was a
you
Vikings
got to
fan,
think
I
if
would.
the defense even improves just a little bit, that hopefully is you're not in those 1 score games as often.
If I was a Vikings fan, my biggest concern would be the regression to the mean when it comes to those one score game results.
I mean, yeah, if you're gonna play in 14 of them again, that'd be a bad idea. It's always a bad idea to play close games.
And then also, on the point of, the new defensive coordinator, yes, you still have largely the exact same roster for the most part, right? And the
Seemingly,
thing
yeah.
with what was the name of y'all's defensive coordinator last year? I can't remember.
Oh god, old man. What's his name? This fucking old red ass motherfucker.
Old man
Started with a-
River.
right? Started with a D. Like, was it?
Old Man River.
And this, you can cut this part to make it look like we didn't stall for time.
No, it's fine. I'm happy to. Oh, fucking Donatel, Brian Donatel.
Yeah,
Oh,
Ed Donatel. Sorry, Ed Donatel. Just
Yeah, Donatel.
nonsense
Ed,
guy.
is it? Yeah, it was Ed Donatel, right? He ran a really conservative system that was just, hey, you essentially were forcing the offense to pick them apart little by little, and it worked. Not too dissimilar to the way Jonathan Gannon ran in his system, just from
Yeah, it was
schematic standpoint.
bend and break defense.
Bend and break defense, and unless you have elite talent all over the place, the bend don't break defense doesn't work too well. But yeah, with Brian Flores, I think the biggest concern that you might have is that he is a blitz happy guy, and he really relies on his corners to hold down the fort. And I don't know if you believe in the secondary to be able to do that. But it will be interesting. It'll be a more fun experience on defense because it's boom or bust with it.
It's at least something. It's at least shaking up something. I don't have high expectations for anything this year, so just happy to watch and have some fun.
Oh, you know what? That's a healthier way of going through the season than the way I do it. So we'll give you that. Now, Bethke, it's your turn.
I think the
Let's
Vikings
talk
are going to
about-
suck. No, I'm just kidding. I thought you was asking.
No, I was gonna say it's your turn. We're talking about your Dallas Cowboys,
It's about goddamn time.
the New York Giants. Now, let me just give you my thoughts on how I think this game's gonna go. You guys are gonna just dog walk the Giants. I really think that this was gonna happen. I don't remember the last time the Giants beating the Cowboys. It's been what, 5 years, 5 seasons, I believe.
That feels like it's a bad omen, if anything.
I mean, they might be due. I still don't look at this Giants team and think that I'm looking at a talented roster. They have a lot of holes in a lot of places. This is a team that's still going to be predicated on Daniel Jones winning with his legs, and he's not necessarily performed great against Dallas Cowboys in his 4 years in the league.
No, but I mean that's more or less their team hasn't been super duper competent. They've had success. I don't think we've been kicking their ass as much, but
4 games in a row.
4 isn't
games in a
that
row?
bad. It's just 2 seasons.
It felt way more.
Yeah, because they would have they got one in.
Well, yeah,
during the
because
Dak
before
season,
that, there's
right?
another.
Then there was Dak
Before
has
that,
a
there's
lot of
another
success
1,
against the
2,
Giants
3,
itself.
4,
But I
5,
think
6, 7, 8.
they got one in on us the year he broke
8.
his
So
ankle.
yeah, 12 and 1 over the last 13.
Yeah, seats.
Yeah, they
that-
beat us in the last game of the season, the year that Dak
Now,
broke his
a
ankle.
lot of these are close.
They are
Like
close.
one
Yeah,
one point, not
usually.
even
I
one
mean,
score.
they're
Like
division
1
games.
point
That,
games.
the Giants do show up for those games, even in losing efforts. However, I just think it's the first game of the week or the season. It's prime time, right? It's the Sunday night game. You're at the Meadowlands. You're coming off a strong season last year, despite the way that it ended. You have a brand new receiver in the slot with Brandon Cooks. You have another year of Michael Parsons coming into his own, and there might be a more healthy implementation of his skill set this season.
And he
where
got
you keep him
snubbed.
a little bit fresh.
He got snubbed, I guess is a hard word, but he lost the defensive player of the year award he wanted. That's useful.
Yep. And then you have a brand new you have a brand new additions to the secondary. I look at this team and I'm thinking,
Carpe Omnia.
who?
Y'all
Wait, what'd you
y'all
say?
haven't seen it. I'm sure that your teams both have released some propaganda. No, some slogans,
For sure.
some
I
team
don't-
slogans.
I don't watch that nonsense.
The Carpe Omnia sees everything. That's the slogan for the 2023 Dallas Cowboys.
So that's a weird slogan.
Let me
Okay.
take so they
Imperialistic.
they posted something I think that is in the building. And let me just it's a wall of the building that they did this Carpe Omnia thing. And it's got a giant like Persian looking man with his sword just sticking out. Payman is going to love that. I don't know if he's seen it, but I will send that to him right away. Otherwise, it's
Right.
just cowboy stuff. There's one of them holding a Super Bowl that's clearly photoshopped because all the helmets are like brand new helmets. And then in the middle of this giant mural uh, is the 5 championships. And this year's Super Bowl and NFC Championship like logos, and then the fucking pictures of the 5 championship teams, like the team photos all around it. This is top-notch propaganda. This is
I mean,
this is what the
yeah,
Cowboys
just
do best.
please
scrolling
send
through
that
the
to us.
I
Vikings.
got you right
in-
now. It's
in the Discord.
boom. It's in the private. Oh, look! It even the preview even basically shows you don't have to click on it.
Oh,
I'm just going through the Vikings trying to find anything close to that. I'm not seeing
Oh my
anything
God.
remotely.
that is that. Wait.
I described it perfectly. No, that was
You
for
did.
people listening
It's-
only.
It's the top right corner that I just can't.
Yeah,
how
I
would
didn't
you
even see that
describe
until I just blew it up. I saw this earlier. I didn't see that part until I blew it up. That's wild.
The Persian man with the sword is so out of place compared to everything else. It's
And we're just gonna
hilarious.
save that image real quick for a later date
All right.
in my Dallas
right,
Cowboys propaganda file.
That almost makes me want to pick the Giants just out of spite, but I won't because I think the Cowboys are the better team. I think you guys are gonna have a pretty good debut, especially with your new weapons on offense and defense. Stephon Gilmore on defense. You got Brandon Cooks on offense in the slot. Opposite, CeeDee Lamb, and then you have. Sorry, got some of mine. And then of course you have Dak at the helm.
But what
Think you
about my
guys are
practice
ready-
squad?
Yeah. Oh no. I'm okay. I think I've heard enough of practice squad on the radio.
All right, I just didn't know if we need to talk about how deep we really need to go. Undrafted free agents. There's some always notable, right? No.
But yeah, how are you feeling
where
though on
the
this
fuck?
Cowboys season?
Motherfucking shitty tits. Sorry, I was trying to get multiple things pulled up, but this is being stupid. All right, there we go. Basically I feel pretty good, but I feel like I do every year, right? Because like I can't have realistic expectations for a team that doesn't operate within the realistic realms of like physics, and you know what I mean? Like there's a difference between things that should happen and the reality of the Dallas Cowboys. So I love this team as a roster. I don't have too many nitpicks. I don't love the fact that there's not a lot of trusty girth in my backfield. Pause. Um, I am worried about Tyler Smith's injury, but I'm not super worried because it's a little bit of an injury, not a big deal. And if he can't go, there's a couple of interesting kids I'd like to see how ready they are because you always know offensive lineman stuff can get weird quickly, especially with us having Tyron Smith still on the roster. So
Yeah.
that's always a
And,
part.
and yeah, and if one were to say one of the biggest weaknesses on offense for the Cowboys, it's the unknown of in terms of the backups on the offensive line,
But it's
right?
positive, honestly. I think there's a lot of really positive things. So the Jets cut guy, the Chuma, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He got into this team late last year. He's a really solid backup. Nothing you want to rely on. But as Richards has been really nice, it looks like. Looks like he's a nice, competent athlete. Probably really fine at guard, no matter where we had to put him. And then TJ Bass might end up being like a fucking steal because that guy was supposed to be like a first round pick a year ago or so, and I think we got him undrafted. So I don't know, if he's got some shit that we're about to find out, or I don't know how he fell that far, but that's a promising talent to have to dip into in this situation. So that's why like I don't hate it, especially if the worst comes to worst is we lose this first week's game because we're putting all these new pieces in and maybe this offensive line isn't quite ready and the offense is still getting adjusted to the new Dak centric offense. I can live with it because really I just want to see a difference in the Cowboys. I want to see less predictability. I want to see Dak manage the line of scrimmage in a way that I've never seen him do it before because I think we all know that's the next part of the like he does a good job, but there's the results are still lacking, which means he's not doing a good enough job. You know what I mean? I don't know enough to give you better than that. I just know that if he wants to be the guy, he has to take that next step, because that's what all the dudes that can do what he wants to do can do. I feel like he can still do it. I love that this is going to be an offense that gives him that power, but I don't fucking believe in shit until I see it. Defensively, this group is pretty fucking fun. I'm excited.
I would say
I
the only issue that I would have on in terms of the defense on the other side, just the interior. It's not like a big interior pass rush,
Yeah, so
but
that's
that's again that's being nitpicky, right? Like, yeah, you don't have like a stud defensive pass rusher, but not, from the inside, but not a lot of teams do, right?
no,
So
I agree. It'll Mozzie's progress this season will be important. I think Osa is a little undersized, but I think he's due for
he's
potentially
280
a
pounds.
potentially a dude that I think could end up unfortunately playing himself off this roster because he'll probably be in that weird too good for us to re-sign, but obviously too good to lowball too and keep around. So I would love to see Osa take that big step. The linebacker stuff is not awesome because that was going to be like the most like enjoyable part of this whole team was having someone like DeMarvion Overshawn. But it's still basically the same concept where we're going to have these hybrid safety linebacker guys and we're just going to fly around and we're going to be as athletic of a defense as you can imagine. But those two things still lend me to wonder if we can stop anybody on short yardage. And if that's a problem again, that's like watching a pitcher that can't get the damn ball down the middle of the plate. You just know that you're just sitting there waiting for it to go bad. Like you just can't, there's only so much you can do in the NFL if you just can't stop people on short yardage. And that was the biggest problem last year. And I don't know that that's completely solved. But I like Mozzie Smith, so we'll see. First game
Fair.
though, I
Now,
think I'll pick us to win. I don't think I'll pick us to win a lot, and by a lot. And I will say I am just mostly happy that that shit is in New York because Philly and New York are early games this year, and that means that y'all got to come to Dallas whenever it's cold as
wait,
nuts.
hold on. You said Philly and New York are early games?
Yeah, Philly. Well, it'll be a little cold in Philly, but it'll be early November, so that'll be doable.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. I see what you meant. I see what you meant.
Yeah,
Talking about like
I'm talking about balls
the
cold.
first
I'm talking
yeah,
about
when the first
fucking.
Cowboy
yeah,
away game.
visit like with Cowboys visiting each
Yeah,
team
I'm talking
being
about not well.
relatively
But
early.
here's the sacrifice though. We got to play in that shitty ass field in Washington the final week of the season.
Oh well, if you're lucky, that game doesn't mean anything. But
Yeah, I hope so.
if it's a tight division race, like I think it's going to be a tight division race, then it could mean something, and that field is fucked, man.
Yeah, I feel good about the team. I feel like we're going to win the Super Bowl because that's how I'm supposed to feel before the first game of the season, and that's subject to change every single day from here until we're officially eliminated.
So you're hedging your bets on a daily basis. I love that.
Well,
I respect that.
I don't care how bad the Cowboys are. They're always going to be Super Bowl favorites until the first game of the season in my mind. I don't care what roster you give me. That's always the philosophy.
It's fair. You know what? Speaking of dodging a bullet. Not that this matters because it's not a divisional game, but you do have to go to Buffalo in mid-December, so there's a chance they have
That
to
is
play
true, yeah.
in a blizzard. So
Yeah, that's not a sick game on paper.
yeah, but it's also a game that doesn't really mean anything in terms of divisional.
But their fans
standings.
will only throw dildos at us, not batteries. So it's better.
Those dildos might
are
have
soft.
batteries.
They're softer. No, they have the rubber, so they're softer when they hit the helmet.
Well, we'll see. It depends on the type of.
And you can
dildo
see
they
a
throw.
dildo coming a little bit better than you can see a snowball with batteries and rocks and shit hidden in it. That only despicable humans would do to another human being, especially Santa Claus.
Hanging on to a story from the '60s. I love it.
No, that's not from the '60s. That's from
Or
the
Z.
'90s. No, that's from the '90s. No, they
Hey,
did
well,
that during the Aikman Cowboys.
Oh, okay. Well, then it must be a tradition like no other. Uh, oh, but anyway, glad that you mentioned the Philadelphia Eagles because now we're gonna finish off with talking about the Philadelphia Eagles Week 1 matchup against the New England Patriots. Man, am I excited for this game? Because I just think it's a really funny start to the season for the Patriots in that they're honoring Tom Brady in this game. I think of all the games that you could pick from, like really, you want to pick the first game of the Eagles game? You don't want to pick like a Jets game, Miami Dolphins game, like a divisional game where he ruled over the division. But I get it; they're not the favorites to win their division. They may not win a division game. Who knows? If things go poorly for them. But you really want to go against the Philadelphia Eagles, who on paper, I think they're the favorites for a lot of places, if I'm not mistaken. A lot in terms of the betting odds of winning the NFC. I've already gone on record and I've said that I think they will probably finish second in the division, but I don't necessarily mean that as a negative. I really do think it's going to be a tight race, and I think they might just lose the tiebreaker because last year they were weirdly healthy all the way through the entire season, right? We've mentioned ad nauseum about the fact they had all 22 starters in the Super Bowl. You're not going to have that happen again. If they somehow reach the Super Bowl again, they're not having that happen again. That's unheard of. Statistically, it's just not viable to expect such a thing, right? But we look at this Eagles defense. There's a lot of turnover in terms of staff and linebackers, safety, defensive tackle. There's just been a lot of turnover. It's not nearly as I think reliable this season. You're looking at Darius Slay, James Bradbury, each 32 and 30 respectively. Behind them, a bunch of unproven talent. However, you look at the offense. That offense is still stacked. We're expecting Jalen Hurts, and when I say we, obviously I mean Eagles fans. But we're expecting elite, right? Another step forward in his development. Every single season of his entire career, starting from college to now, he's only gotten better. From each season to the next, he's improved. From his freshman season in Bama to his final season in Oklahoma, he has consistently improved. Look at his rookie season. He was awful. His first year as a starter, he was okay at best, but really, there was a lot of doubt. That next year, last year, Pro Bowl, had one of the best performances I've ever seen from a quarterback in the Super Bowl, regardless of the jersey that he wore. So you kind of expect this season to still, or not still, but to still kind of, continue in that arc of progression. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know what an improved Hurts looks like this season, but I'm expecting, as long as things go right on offense, for him to, put up 12 wins, put up over 3,500 yards, 20 plus touchdowns, still put 10 touchdowns on the ground. As long as AJ Brown is healthy, Devontae Smith is healthy, and Dallas Goedert, as long as you get 2 out of 3 of those guys throughout the majority of the season, I think you can expect really good production on the offense. That defense, yes, they still have a lot of talent at pass rush. There's a team that's built on the trenches. Their offensive line is still really good. There's just a lot more parity with this team now. With all that said, I still think that this first game of the season, you have Bill Belichick, who's had plenty of time to come up with a plan to try to slow this team down, but I just think they're going to be outmatched. It's going to be a battle. That secondary versus this offense versus this receiving core. But the X factor is going to be Jalen Hurts, and that's what's going to be the X factor all year long. This is a team where he is the system. He's absolutely the system. We go as he goes, and if he is spectacular yet again, the NFC runs through 2 teams. They're both located in the East.
Well,
and it's going to be
not.
Well, in the NFC East. One just happens to play in the South.
The Central Time Zone.
Yeah, in the Central Time Zone. It's really weird. That's something that we need to talk about. They need to make this actually regionally make sense. But whatever. That's like an off-season topic.
That ship has sailed. There ain't no way they're ever giving up that particular division is the reason they'll never give that shit up.
Oh yeah, I know that, but I'm just saying from a logical standpoint, it should be talked about. But yeah, other than that, I really think this is a game that the Eagles might come out. It'll be a close game, but I don't think the result will ever be in doubt. I'm looking at a 24 to 14 type of a game, because it is, again, Patrick, you've said it. It's the first game. This is really their week 1 is now the preseason for a lot of NFL teams, the real preseason for the starters. Fellas, do you have anything to add on to anything regarding this this game, or just this team in general?
Do you feel like there's a lot of pressure for the Eagles to start 4-0? Because it kind of feels like there's a little bit of pressure there to start 4-0.
Yes, and
that may be a weird thing to say, but if no one listening hasn't seen their schedule, New England, Minnesota, no offense, Tampa Bay, and Washington, winnable games, and I only say that against Minnesota because clearly Philly and Minnesota, it's the history there recently hasn't been beautiful.
They've matched up against us very well the last few times, yes.
I'm not saying it can't change, but in the recent history, it's what it is. So I think given the fact that then you get Los Angeles, who I'm sure everyone's ready to write off, but let's not completely write off yet. The Rams might be at least competent, right? In a frisky playoff team.
That team is so young, man.
What if the Jets are good? You know what I mean? Then Miami, Washington might be a really tough team, even if they're mediocre as fuck. And then you would have a Cowboys game, go into a bye week, and then Kansas City, Buffalo, San Francisco, finishing in Dallas. And then who knows what Seattle, New York, twice to finish the season might be good, might be really bad. And at least you get an Arizona game thrown at the end when they're over there trying to... They might actually have to win that game so that Caleb Williams will actually want to play for them, though. Different story for a different day.
Yeah, but that's a team devoid of talent. So, no, there's no way. But, yeah, no, to your point, if there's any pressure, I think there's a pressure for them to kind of go 4-1 in their first 5. I think the only real potential loss there, maybe Minnesota. Maybe if they, but it's a home game, but it's on a short week. I mean, it's
I wouldn't write off Washington entirely because they should have enough to be in games.
enough
you
to
throw
be in
away a
games, but I
game-
don't think they have enough to close out games. Now, I say that knowing that Washington was the first team to hand Philadelphia their first loss last season, so it's not out of the realm of possibility. But again, I look at it as like a team that that's still a team that everybody expects to finish last in the division. Like just consensus is that's still a team that's going to finish last. It's because you got Sam Howell. We don't really know what he's capable of, right? Good or bad. I mean, we've only got like a snippet of it. But I look at that Los Angeles Rams game. I'm like, that's a dub. That should be a dub. There is outside of Cooper Cup, they have nothing on offense for Matthew Stafford to work with. On defense, it's Aaron Donald and nobody else that you can name. That's a team that has 3 players.
Bobby
3.
Brown.
Miss me with that one. The only Bobby Brown that I will acknowledge is the one who created the song "My Prerogative." And then yeah, like you said, go into the Jets, Miami. That's gonna be tough. Now you have a road game at Washington, which it's still a division opponent, but you have to go in there with the confidence that you can beat that team, right? You have to little brother that team. Then starts that brutal stretch of the schedule that you said from that starts with Dallas, ends with Seattle, New York. If you want to, give New York their flowers, like that's just not. It's not a forgiving schedule, and so it does leave me with a lot of personal anxiety and doubt about what this team can do, not just in the regular season, but going into the postseason, assuming they make it into the postseason, right? Because we've seen the teams that lost the Super Bowl the year before, they struggle the next year, right? With very few exceptions. The last team to make it back to the Super Bowl after losing, the New England Patriots, right? Lost to Philadelphia, beat the Rams the next year. And then, I mean, other than that, can you name somebody else that did that? The Buffalo Bills, I think, is the last team to lose multiple consecutive lose a Super Bowl and then make it back, and they did that 4 times in a row, which sucks to be a Bills fan in the '90s, right? But yeah, I do have some hesitation with this team, because they don't have a lot of depth at certain key positions like corner, wide receiver, edge rush, right? A lot of their depth is all kind of built in the trenches in terms of defensive tackle, offensive line. If Jalen Hurts misses 2 games, if I have to see Marcus Mariota play 2 games, I might lose it. All right, you're gonna see me just come into the podcast all doom and gloom, which Bethke, you might get some entertainment from.
Well, duh.
Yeah, but I mean, other than that, I still want to believe in this team. I still think that this team on paper has enough talent to win the conference, win the division. I don't necessarily think they'll win the division, but I still think they can win the conference, because I don't trust the Dallas Cowboys in the postseason yet. But who knows?
There's no
always
reason to. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
there's
if
always
it
a
ever
chance
happens,
Yeah.
it could be this year.
It could. It really could. I'm not a Dallas Cowboys doubter. I'm not a believer, but I'm not a doubter in them whatsoever. But yeah, other than that, fellas, I think that's all I got on the Philadelphia Eagles week 1 and just my general feelings for this team going forward. I'm cautiously optimistic, as I'll put it, on this one. But football fans everywhere, we should all be optimistic. It's week 1, everybody's 0-0.
I agree. I was going to say I'm hopelessly optimistic. One could even say eternally hopelessly optimistic.
Hey, you know what? Maybe you can get a time machine and experience the '70s Super Bowls and the '90s Super Bowls, but you got to do it incognito because
No,
butterfly
no.
effect.
Caesar, you don't understand. I'm the next level here. I'm plotting for the world to end when that finally happens. Everyone's been picking on the weird kid, and once the weird kid gets what he wants, who knows what's going to happen. You might push the weird kid too far. I like it because all those other Super Bowls were kind of, I mean, maybe the '70s because they were kind of shitty first. You let us fuck around and get one, we'll eat twice the amount of horse shit.
Oh, at least Fort Worth will, because that's the only place you can find horses in the fucking area.
Hey, this is Texas. I can just snap and find a horse.
Yeah, there's horse farms in Dallas for sure.
Just
There are- I
watching
mean, there
a sea of
Uh,
Cowboys fans charge those horse farms,
Hey, bro.
ready to eat some.
There's gonna be a lot of arrests that night. That's all I know. A lot.
I
A
believe
lot.
it. I won't be in the city in case that happens.
Okay, we can't end another consecutive episode with that same exact what happens if the Cowboys win.
Oh, but
Oh.
that is the plot until this season, until we're eliminated. That is
Oh.
exactly what we're going to do.
Don't fall
Well,
for the Jerry
if the-
Jones.
If the Eagles win, I will personally fly out to Philadelphia and partake in them destroying their own city.
Yeah.
How about that? To end it on that.
Yeah.
Patrick, I don't know what you would do if Minnesota won a Super Bowl. You have a very
I've
calm
given up.
temperament.
I've given up thinking about it. I will be too excited. I won't know what to do. I'll
I
be
feel
a
like
dog that's.
You'll be like
I'll be a
you'll be
dog
like,
that's going in
Ricky Bobby.
circles, jumping up and down, and just.
I feel like it'll be like when when LeBron won with the Cavs, and we're all just like, "Fuck, bro, this is like not a fake thing right now. Like this is real. Like this actually just fucking happened."
I'll be more like Dirk. I'll just want to be alone, and luckily I'm not on the team, so no one's gonna actually have to talk to me immediately after.
Just cry in your corner.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there will be
that
tears,
Randy Moss jersey
absolutely.
real tight.
Yeah, that and the Rangers. Once either one of them do anything,
That's
gonna be
true. I
real
would probably
fun.
cry if the Rangers actually did it. I have a little. It's sad because I feel like I have more faith in the Cowboys than the Rangers, but that's a different story for a different podcast.
I think they're both equally as likely to win a title before
That's
the
the s-
other.
That's what I'm
doesn't-
saying. That's what I'm saying. And that right now I'm leaning Cowboys, which makes me not feel good.
Then you should start feeling it the other way around. Reverse the jinx. Reverse
No,
the jinx.
luckily, I have
Alright.
I have built the trust with my Cowboys. The Rangers, I have very little trust with.
Fair
But that's for us to continue to debate next week,
enough. Absolutely.
and hopefully we're not completely burying them next week.
Yep. And next week we'll review what happened in week 1 for our teams, as well as preview week 2, baby, because it's football season and it's gonna start dominating the pod for the next couple months.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, as long as it doesn't cut into the preseason roster breakdowns, there's a lot of 10-day contracts in the
And
NBA.
stop recording.
Just miraculously. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I forgot I didn't record that part of the episode.
All right, guys, I've got all the training camp invites from this season. Let's power rank who's got the best shot of making a 10-day. All right.
That'd be good for a bonus content episode. That's a bit,
That would be not good for anybody's use of time.
Somebody wants it.
Somebody.
If they do, they need to go touch grass.
No, man, they want to touch a hard court.
No, they need to stop worrying about the 10-day players. But all right.
All right. Well, that concludes the segment, and I think that concludes the episode. Patrick, what say you?
Yeah, that'll wrap up episode 30. We'll see y'all next week. SKOL Vikings.
Go Team USA.
Fly Eagles fly, baby.
Cowboys don't need any help.
All right, later, y'all.
Later.
That concludes episode 30 of Pass the Rock. Thank you for listening, and as always, like, subscribe, comment, share, make your own audio and send it to me, and I'll play it on the damn podcast. Thanks.
This is Pass the Rock.
I think you've had enough. No? Now you've had enough. Bitch.
Well,